All right, and we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to nAGLY Live. So before we get started, I just want to, if anyone's in the chat, if you could just tell us if you can see us or hear us. We'll give you a few seconds and then we'll just start talking. All right, great. So we're going to start it off with Gray.
It's me. Hi, welcome to nAGLY Live.
What is nAGLY? We're a youth-run group in Salem, Mass. For LGBTQ youth. Please check us out at nagly.org. So many people have expressed how much they love our group, so we decided to go virtual. Think of us as a digital GSA, but we also have a home base.
nAGLY Live is every other Thursday from 7 to 8. And if you feel that 1 hour is not enough, you can catch us on our other social media outlets. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter with the username North Shore nAGLY, all one word. Somebody just had to name their child nAGLY, so we have to use North Shore nAGLY. And I will be adding the links to the chat.
And we're going to start off with some quick guidelines before we get into our content. So for guidelines, our target audience is youth. Specifically youth between the ages of 10 and 18. All content will be anonymous. We will not be using real names. There's a zero tolerance policy in the chat. You will be banned for being mean, so if it's not nice, don't say it. We consider ourselves PG-13 with occasional cursing, but never at anyone or to each other, and no copyright content will be shared.
All right, so a little disclaimer, we'll be covering some topics that some viewers may find sensitive or uncomfortable. The views of individuals featured in our live sessions aren't necessarily a full representation of nAGLY's thoughts and opinions. With that being said, viewer discretion is advised. Don't sue us. None of us are trained social workers. We somehow made it to adulthood. We are speaking from experience.
Awesome. So now we're going to start off with introductions. And my name is Mia. I am 31 years young, and my pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am an adult advisor at nAGLY.
And my name is Gray. I'm 30 years old. I use he, him, or they, them pronouns, and I am a social work intern at nAGLY.
Hey, I'm Jess. I'm 26 years old. I use she, her, and hers as pronouns, and I'm an adult advisor at nAGLY.
Awesome. So now we're going to get into our qualifications. So in terms of the LGBTQ community, I identify under L for lesbian.
And I identify with the T and the Q for trans and queer.
I identify with the B for bisexual or pansexual.
Awesome. So you are all in for a treat that's here. I see Catwoman. Hey, hi, Catwoman. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, so if you read our title ahead of time, we have some awesome topics to talk about. And today we're going to start off talking about morning routines. Like, what's your morning routine? Do you even have a morning routine? So I think we can start off with Jess. Jess, yes. Do you have a morning routine?
Yeah, I tend to have a morning routine that I follow generally every morning. So what I do, it's like really boring because I get really anxious in the mornings, like to an extreme amount. So I tend to like do things that'll calm down my anxiety, you know? So I'll just like get up and like take my medications, and then I'll like clean up my cat's like litter box and give her food and water and such. And then I just kind of like try to calm down for a little bit because I just like get so high strung and like really anxious in the morning. So I tend to like sit down at my computer or whatever and like watch ASMR videos, or just like which is what we're going to be talking about in a little bit. And some other things I do are like just like check up on my notifications on my phone just to see what's going on, or like check in with a friend just to see how people are doing, or if I need to check in, you know. So yeah, that's my morning routine. And of course I eat too. Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, wow, you work really hard in the morning.
It's not, like my eating habits aren't very good usually. So I don't know. But I usually eat like a little bit in the morning at least, but I tend to like have a hard time eating like solid foods in the mornings because I don't know, my stomach just like doesn't handle it very well. So yeah, that's my morning routine.
So what do you do, like yogurts or like smoothies or?
Yeah, like I'll do yogurt sometimes, or like I'll do like cereal too, but it has to be like, it can't be like too sweet and it can't be too bland either. I don't know, I'm like very picky in the morning.
Awesome. So how about Gray? You tell us, what is your morning routine?
That's a great question. So let's start with some real words. I am a grad student full-time and I work full-time and I have a part-time internship. So my mornings are far from routine. But I do my best to wake up with my alarm, which is set to right now one of my favorite Amy Winehouse songs. And then I get up and tend to all of my animals, my 2 dogs and my 1 cat, like let them out, feed them, clean up after their messes through the night, tearing apart my homework and stuff like that. And then I try really hard to do 5 to 6 minutes of meditation with this app that I use called Insight Meditation, or Insight Timer, that's what it's called. It's just like been really helpful. Like 5 minutes is not a lot. Usually I'll spend that time scrolling through my phone. So if I can spend that in a more productive and helpful to me way, then that's always positive. Yeah, and then I like make breakfast while I listen to some podcasts and then eventually sit down and start work.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you do have a morning routine.
I do, yeah. Something together, right.
That's awesome. I'll have to check out that app for meditation.
Yeah.
It's something I would really like to try.
Mm-hmm.
So ask the same question in the chat. So we have here, Catwoman said, my morning routine is I hit the snooze button 3 times, get on YouTube, panic that I am going to be late, and drive fast to work. I drink 32 ounces of water before I clock into work. That's a lot of drinking and driving. It's awesome. Yeah, if anybody else on the chat would like to add what their morning routine is, please share with us. We would, mornings can be tough. So, just to see how everyone else's morning routine would really help us all out. Yeah, I'm definitely going to try that. I really want to try that meditation app. And Jess, I totally understand about, eating certain things in the morning. My go-to thing right now is soup. Like I just love soup in the morning. Like it's weird as people think that sounds like, it's just such a comforting food, like in the morning to have soup, especially with this weather. Since we're in Mass and it's getting colder. So I have another question in terms of morning routines. So great for you. How does your morning routine now differ for you as, when you were a youth? And you can pick any age, right? I mean, did you always have, this many pets that you had to take care of? And
actually, yeah, I grew up in a house with like 32 animals. And I was always a healthy person. So that's always been a thing. But I didn't always meditate, and I am a very anxious person by nature. So without meditation or some kind of relaxing thing in the morning, I'm like Jess, I can just get like really high strung all of a sudden. So I do find that the adulthood in me use a meditation app is a helpful thing. But what else is different? I had to wake up so early to get to school in the morning. I lived in a small town with like only 1 bus, and I lived at like the very beginning of the bus route. So I had to be like waiting for the bus an hour and a half before school even started. So we started so early, and it was so hard, especially in high school when I had to be there at like 7 to start class. So I had to be at the bus at like 5:30. So I had to get up at like 4:30ish.
Wow,
that's a
lot. That's a lot to ask of a 14 to 18-year-old. So I prefer this kind of routine. Like 6:30. you know, doing my thing. That's a lot better for me. Yeah.
Mhm.
How about you guys?
Awesome. How about you, Jess?
I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I wasn't as anxious back then, so I didn't really like have to, you know, consider that in the mornings as much. But I mean, it's pretty like much the same. I've always had, well, not always. I've like had my cat for a while. She's, oh, you can see her in the background actually.
All right.
She's 12, so I've had her since she was a kitten. So I've always taken care of her in the mornings for the most part. Sometimes when I was younger, you know, my mom would or whatever. But yeah, so I don't know. Nothing too different, I guess. I mean, like when I was much younger, I would tend to do like homework in the mornings, but I don't do that as much anymore because I mean, I do my homework, but not in the mornings. Because I just like get so anxious in the mornings that I can't really do, you know, like much of anything, honestly. So I just like try to like get out of that state of mind.
Totally understand that. Yeah, I know it's like so different when you're, you know, when you're young and you have like different responsibilities as to like when you are now. So if you would have a perfect morning, how would your perfect morning go? And we'll start off with Jess.
All right. I think it's pretty obvious from by now that my perfect morning would not include anxiety. So, so just like a nice morning without anxiety would be very great. I mean, that does tend to happen on occasion, but for the most part, most mornings are not like that. So, yeah.
And how about you, Greg?
I think an ideal morning would just be doing what I normally do, but without knowing that I like have to go do stuff that I don't want to do. Like I'll do my thing and then have to go to work or have to go to school or have to do this or that. And it'd be so nice to have like a day where it's just stuff I want to do. And, you know, don't put a timer on the meditation app, just like let it go and see how long I can go and go take a walk with my dogs and go make some art somewhere, you know, whatever I want to do.
Yeah, that freedom, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got here in the chat going on. So Spectacular Gadget says a cup of tea for me will do. Nice, very nice. And then Sunlit Light Studio says I wake to a scream from Helena, then I go back to bed, and then I go back to sleep. I don't know, 10? I'm not sure what that means. M8N. Morning? I'm going to assume that it's like a shortcut for a short word for morning. So you wake up to someone screaming and you go back to sleep. That's not a great way to wake up. And and then Catwoman says she has some ice water. Oh yeah, to like wake you up and get your senses going. And it says, oh yeah, so Spectacular Gadgets and Catwoman are very opposite, right? The hot tea and the cold beverage. So that's interesting how that works out. And then Des says, my perfect morning would be taking my time with skincare and makeup and a quick stop to Organic Garden. Ooh, that sounds yummy. So Organic Garden is a vegan, raw cafe restaurant in Massachusetts, and they are delicious. So I totally agree with that. And then Catwoman says, my perfect morning would be me waking up at 1 p.m. from a 12-hour sleep. I love this so much. I'm not a morning person. One day I will be. I will, hopefully. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I agree. Mornings are tough, so it's good to like know what all of us are doing. So that way we can figure out, you know what might be a good morning. So yeah, awesome. I love this sharing. Sharing is caring. So I think I'm done with asking my questions about morning routine. Hey, Blue Flare. Someone just said hi to me. So I'm not sure who that is, but hi, Blue Flare Studio. So the next topic that I wanted to talk about is the holidays are coming up, and you know, it's that time of the year where we got to get presents for everyone. And, you know, sometimes, you know, you think people know you and sometimes they just don't. So I wanted to get a little personal here, and I wanted to know, you know, what is the most awkward gift that you ever had that's LGBTQ like related? Like someone's like, oh, I totally think that this is you because you're, you know, bi or trans or queer or lesbian or gay. So we can start off with Jess. Do you have a story that you'd like to share with us?
I've been thinking about this one and I can't think of anything.
No?
I don't know.
So you like all your presents?
Generally, yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't really care too much about presents, to be honest. So I don't know. Yeah. I mean, sorry, I think my neighbors are out there talking. Yeah. I don't know. I guess like the only thing I can really think of was when I was younger and I would get like, you know, like underwear as gifts or whatever. That'd just be awkward. But that's not really like LGBTQ related. So I don't know.
I mean, some people don't like underwear. So okay. All right. Great. Do you have maybe a story at all?
Yeah. So trying to pin it down. So I have a twin brother, and so
that's awesome.
yeah, so I have this like comparison of what people get him or got him when we were kids versus what people got me. So I didn't come out as trans until I was like in my late teens, early 20s. So all throughout childhood, I would get pink stuff and he would get blue stuff, and I would get like dolls and he would get like the best thing ever, which was like this Easy Bake Oven, except it wasn't an Easy Bake Oven, it made like weird like spider gummy things.
What?
It was the coolest thing. Anyway, and I didn't get that. It's fine. Not mad about it 20 years later.
Clearly not. Clearly not.
Oh, not at all. No attachment to that.
How did you react to those moments? Like,
how did I react?
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, I just kind of rolled my eyes and just like dismissed people as like, well, you don't get me. Like, clearly, I would appreciate the spider gummy Easy Bake Oven more than him. But now I look back in it and I wish people had just like kind of like last week's nAGLY Live. Go look it up if you haven't watched it. Like, I wish people, adults in my life, had been more thoughtful about like, you don't need to give pink to a kid you think is a girl, and you don't need to give blue to a kid you think is a boy. Like, you can just give stuff based on what that kid likes, or like, if there's twins, like probably get them the same thing because there's gonna be resentment anyway. Yeah, so like at the time I didn't think much of it, but now if that happened, actually only a couple years ago, so like when I was like 28 and definitely like as like masculine presenting as I am now, someone made me and my brother a birthday cake and wrote my name in pink and his name in blue. Yeah, exactly your face. Yeah, like what? Like it's fine. Like I enjoy pink just as much as the next person, but we can examine your choices there if you're gonna write a trans person's name in a gender specific color that doesn't quite correlate with their identity. Anyway, that was a lot of big words, but I didn't appreciate it.
That's Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
And if anybody in the chat wants to share too, feel free. I mean, it doesn't have to be LGBTQ related, but it would be interesting to know if anyone has had that experience too. So I'll give you an example for me, and it's kind of LGBTQ related. At least I feel like for me, like I feel like I'm being like targeted every year for Christmas. I always get like the most flowery scented like lotions, like a scented lotion set, and it's just so flowery. And you know, it's that point where people are like,
yeah,
do you even know me? Because I don't like anything scented. Like, I'm not the kind like, first of all, I'm not the kind of person that, puts lavender on their body and cucumbers in their armpits. And I mean, there's some people that do, and that's perfectly fine, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just cucumbers.
Yep. Yeah, Dove has a cucumber deodorant, which, yeah, I do use.
Oh,
but,
I really thought you meant you rubbed like.
like no, let's experiment, right? But yeah, I always get like the most like flowery, and I don't even like wear cologne. Like, if I smell good, it's because I just naturally smell good. But I find it funny when I get like the most like flowery, like, and it's just like, and I always know, and my reactions are just like, oh, thank you, and I don't think I would react differently. I think I would just be, I'm still gonna do the same thing. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, which I do. I appreciate the fact that, you're giving me a gift. But I also feel bad because I'm like, they just kind of, wasted money on me. But it comes from the heart, and, I love to re-gift, other people like to smell like potpourri and such, which is great. So, yeah, I mean, right. So it's something that we have to think about. The holidays are coming up, and, it's probably be best to like find some kind of like unisex like present. And I mean, I don't know what that is like other than gift cards, right? Gift cards are always good. But, and also you have to, figure out, don't give gift cards to just a place you think that they might like, right? Keep it, I don't know. I just keep it Amazon and keep it going. Awesome.
The flowers, like if someone really likes flowers, you can get them flowery things.
Yeah.
It's more about like, don't just make these huge sweeping assumptions about two kinds of people. There's flower people and there's like man-scented people.
Yeah.
Like if I enjoy flowers, I also get headaches if I get too many flowery things around me. So
yeah,
there's that. But yeah, maybe some boy in your life really enjoys the smell of like lily of the valley and really wants that lotion. So like, but yeah, a gift card also works. I agree.
Yeah. All right, so let's see what we have going on in the chat. So always wanted video games, but got feminine hygiene products. Yeah, yep. When you're looking for that gift and you're like, oh, just get a generic feminine hygiene product. Yes, and money is gender neutral. That is correct. No glitter. That is right. And Des says everything should be dipped in glitter. We can agree to disagree there. All right, so yeah, those are the topics that I wanted to talk about tonight. So I'll kick it off to Jess.
Okay, so I kind of wanted to talk about ASMR. If you guys don't know what that is, it's basically like those videos on YouTube that give you like head tingles, and like it just is really relaxing and helps you sleep too. So yeah, I don't know exactly what I want to say about this. I wasn't very prepared. Sorry, guys. But let's see. I enjoy watching ASMR videos because I feel like they can like help me get to sleep when I have like really bad insomnia, for example. Like last night I stayed up till 5 in the morning and I slept like a really long time. It was crazy. And so yeah, I tend to watch those videos when I'm having insomnia or whatever, and it'll generally help like at least a little bit, you know? And it definitely helps in the morning too to calm me down. Also, I do have an ASMR channel. I'm not gonna like tell people what it is or anything, but I like making ASMR videos too, and I think it's like really fun. And I think it can be relaxing too to make them because you're like giving back to the community and you're like helping people sleep and just like feel relaxed, you know? So that's basically what I wanted to say. And ASMR stands for autonomous sensory meridian response. And so that's basically like what it stands for. And yeah, it's basically just like tingling sensation in your head that like makes you relaxed, and it's very nice and good. So yeah.
Are there kinds of ASMR videos that you prefer over others?
Yeah, honestly, like I like watching like so there yeah, that's a good point, Gray, because there are lots of different types of ASMR videos. So like there are some with like tapping or scratching, which I really like those a lot, like especially like fast tapping. Some people prefer like slower tapping. Um, but there's like also like some ASMR that's been popular lately, like mukbangs are really popular, which is when you just like eat food. And yeah, it sounds really weird, right? But it is really weird, honestly. I think it's really weird, but I like it. I don't know. So people get the tingling sensation from watching people like eat food, or just like not like watching them eat food, but like hearing the sounds of like the food being eaten. Mia has a question.
That's me. No, I'm saying that's me. I actually do
Oh, okay.
enjoy. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. Because
Yeah.
you know what? So I did a potato reset in October, and so I watched this person go through their journey doing the potato reset, and most of the videos is just her eating, and
Yeah.
So you know what? I just kept watching it, and you know what? I actually noticed that I enjoy watching people eat, especially since it's my food. But I do enjoy like watching and listening to, like, it doesn't bother me, but I know that there's people that are sensitive to those kinds of noises,
It's
so
kind
they
of
don't enjoy it.
It's kind of a little bit controversial though too, mukbangs, because some people feel that they're not very great to put out there because of like people with like eating disorders and such. So and a lot of people that do mukbang eating videos will eat very large portions of the food. So that can also be like not so great for your health, you know, especially if you're not eating something, you know, quote unquote healthy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
there's that too. I just wanted to throw out there.
that's you make a really great point. So maybe they should watch the potato reset, because all she eats is just potatoes, which are amazingly healthy for you, and
Yeah.
then you know it'll help you out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think ASMR is a pretty interesting phenomenon. Like, I didn't know about it until Jess, you told me about it, and I was like, oh, like that's like I didn't really get it. And but there's this show on Netflix called Follow This, and there's a segment that talks about ASMR and like where it originated from. So I guess this is like the first time ever where like something that actually helps society, like in a medical way, right? Because you know, you said it helps you fall asleep. It started on the internet, and so like medical professionals are trying to you know, like start researching and figuring out this phenomenon now, instead of it being a phenomenon that I guess has always occurred, and then just somehow it just gets like leaked or whatever. But I would suggest, like, if anyone in the chat watch that Netflix series, Follow This, but specifically there's one about ASMR, which is pretty interesting too, because they talk about how there's a live ASMR in New York where you go and like, yeah, they'll like rub a feather on you, and they'll whisper in your ear, and you pay to do this, and people feel like soothing sensation, and it helps them. And I mean, if it's something that helps you, and like, more power to you, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I talked with Mia about this before, the live session or whatever, in New York, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I think that's very weird, but also very cool at the same time. Like ASMR is both very strange and very like awesome. It kind of like borders on like both, you know? So I don't know. I don't know if I'd do that. I don't know. I feel like that'd be fun, but at the same time I'd be a little bit, I don't know.
Yeah, you definitely have to have like a sense of like, you'd have to put your guard down and be
Yeah,
vulnerable.
totally.
Yeah, and put your trust into people, especially since you're paying for it, you know.
I wonder how much that costs. Oh God.
Yeah. But it's cool, like, you know, you find a community in doing this, and find a community in being therapeutic.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just looking at the chat right now.
Did you want to say some things that are going on in the chat?
Yeah, Des says, I find it very interesting that more people know about it. I actually heard someone talking about it during town hall today. Yeah, that's really true. I find more people are getting to know about ASMR these days, as opposed to like a few years ago when it was like kind of like not really like undercover, but like it almost was, you know, like there weren't too many people who like knew about ASMR like online. So yeah. And let's see. So Catwoman says that they try to listen to ASMR, but then they get scared. So that's interesting. I'm not sure. That doesn't happen to me, so I don't know how that would happen. But if you can explain more, yeah.
It probably would also depend on like the kind of ASMR videos too.
Yeah, totally.
Like, when I was at the at this event for nAGLY, like the peer leaders, they were actually doing like there was a mic and we were what were we doing? I think we were just playing a game, but then they took over the mic and then they started doing ASMR stuff to it, like ripping paper into the microphone and
yeah,
like, pulling stuff in there. So maybe those things could probably like be scary to sink in.
Yeah. There are some really, really weird ASMR like role plays out there too, where like people will like role play as like something like kind of scary, and then like it'll be like ASMR, but like it's scary too. I don't know. The ASMR community is very strange, like I said, but yeah.
Wow. So I'm seeing like there's a spectrum of ASMR.
Yeah, there is. There really is.
Therapeutic and relaxing to like I'm gonna scare you.
Yeah. All right. I think I'm done with that topic.
Okay. Greg, do you have any last inputs?
No, my last thought is actually a segue to the next topic.
Okay.
Because I learned about ASMR on Tumblr, where like it's the same thing like as videos on YouTube. I think people there on Tumblr just shared their videos of like cutting kinetic sand with a knife and like the sound of that, and like communicating with each other about how to tag posts, like for certain trigger words, because some people were triggered by like a crunch sound and some people were triggered by seeing a knife. So people just like worked with each other and how to like best communicate and best tag their videos and like what to avoid in the future. I don't know. I thought it was really cool. I don't use ASMR videos, or I don't watch them and I don't make them because like whispering creeps me out, and consuming large amounts of food doesn't seem like a great idea to me. Like most of them, I'm just like, I appreciate that this exists for people who enjoy it, and like I'm gonna stay over here. Yeah, I'm sure there is some form of ASMR that I would enjoy, but I haven't quite got that like tingly head feeling that Jess was talking about. So,
what do you think? Like meditation is a form of ASMR, like when you do the ohms.
I think
tingly from it though.
Oh, okay.
You know, like I don't get that actual like physiological response to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I get relaxed, so that's kind of a physiological response. But I think the ASMR videos, from what I've heard, they actually create like a full body tingly response, or I don't know, just what, if you can talk about what the actual like physical sensation of that feeling is.
It just kind of feels like, I don't know, it's hard to explain for people that don't experience ASMR because some people don't experience it and some people do. Okay. So I don't know, like the first thing I think of generally is when I was younger and I would like be hanging out with my brother and we would like write on each other's backs, like just like with our fingers, you know, and that would give me like the tingling sensation in my head and like kind of like down my back a little bit too. And it was just like relaxing and stuff. I don't know. That's the first experience I had with ASMR. And I was gonna say, as far as the meditation thing goes, I don't think meditation is ASMR, but I think ASMR is meditation.
Ooh.
Ooh,
We just went deep. We just went deep. I like that.
But yeah, so I was segueing somewhere. Let's segue more. I wanted to talk today a little bit about all of the new restrictions that are happening on Tumblr and on Facebook. I don't know if anybody's heard about this, but on December 17th, Tumblr like put all of its content of every user that uses that platform through this like algorithm, and it now will not show anything that it deems not safe for work. And a lot of people feel like this was a good move because like it's friendlier for all ages, and it's a lot less adult material visible on the website. But a lot of people are having a hard time with this because the algorithm is a computer, so it's not a person who can like think about what's appropriate versus inappropriate. And a lot of, especially LGBTQ people, are finding that their posts about being LGBTQ are getting flagged and are getting removed. So people are calling this like a form of censorship because they can't like, I know I did. A lot of people use Tumblr and Facebook and all of these other social media platforms as like when they're first coming out as queer and first coming out as trans to like connect with other people and like ask all these awkward questions that you don't really feel comfortable asking in person to other adults in your life. So I feel like it's a really helpful thing for people to have that safe online space not really safe, but to have an online space to have the option to ask these questions and talk about these things and learn for themselves what fits them and what doesn't. So I don't know if anyone's heard about it, if anyone has any thoughts, but leave some comments and we'll respond to them as they come up. And one other thing I wanted to say is that Facebook is also restricting their content, but that started in October. I didn't realize that, October of 2018. And their content guidelines now say kind of the same stuff, that anything that's not safe for work will be removed from the website, including from like Messenger. So I don't know if that's accurate because I know that there's some pretty gross things on Facebook, but at least that's the intention, is that Facebook as a organization is going to be removing all this stuff. And again, that's helpful because it makes it safer for young people, things like that. But in their content guidelines, they do say stuff about any conversations, any words specific to sexuality will be censored. So a lot of LGBTQ people are worried that their conversations about like like safe sex practices and like stuff like that will be censored and removed when that's really the best place for people to get some of that information. So I don't know. I feel like this is kind of a controversial thing.
Yeah.
The decisions have already been made, so we can't really go backwards and change them. But I think it's an important topic, especially for queer youth, to think about like how are we gonna make sure that queer youth have this place somewhere to ask these questions that are awkward or to like find out this information that's really helpful to keep themselves safe and just to like explore their identities. I don't know.
No, I totally understand what you're saying, Gray, because I mean, that's what we're trying to do here at nAGLY Live, right? We're trying to create that safe space that there isn't really a lot of safe space for, you know, LGBTQ plus youth out there, let alone virtually. Like there just isn't a brave space. And so the fact that they're making all these changes, and again, right, it's not a person, it's just an algorithm that's making all these determinations that really does leave a bad taste in the mouth of, you know, a group of minorities that are you know, we're already in the minority, and then it's like you're shoving us back into the closet again. So, and the article that you had sent me about it, it also talked about that, you know, Tumblr did it, Facebook did it, but it's also affecting Instagram. So I'm wondering how that's going to affect, you know, like hashtags.
Yeah.
You know, because everyone hashtags these things, and you know, like won't be erased, or I'm gay, or I'm so gay, or something like that. So like I wonder how is that going to be if that's the kind of you know, content that they're targeting, and it's not fair to silence us.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you both. I know some people who have been affected by this like already, you know, and yeah, like specifically some people that are like alternative models, and they like identify under the LGBTQ umbrella as well. So it's just like it's really sad to see all of this happen, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Catwoman said the same thing happened to YouTube in the beginning of the year. The algorithm was flagging coming out videos and suppressing it so that it could not be recommended or found. And YouTube apologized. So that's good to know that they apologized. Oh, and she said they fixed it, which is even better. I noticed that when robots and AIs are in their infant stage, that they have to be taught to be tolerant. And hopefully, and I don't know if these companies are talking to each other, these social media platforms are talking to each other, because, you know, Facebook would have probably looked at, you know, if YouTube did make these changes first, you know, how did they go about it, and, you know, not, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not trigger a community,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, you know, so easily, you know, I mean, they must have known that what the changes they were making would affect us. I mean, straight people don't have to say they're straight, you know, cis people don't have to say they're cis, right? So
right,
it's triggering us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's this example of they're using their power as these owners of these platforms to remove content that they deem to be unsuitable. And yet on all of these platforms, you can find incredibly racist, incredibly xenophobic, awful things, and they're not using that same power as the owner of Facebook or the owner of Tumblr to remove all of that stuff. So it's really alarming to me that LGBTQ people especially are once again being kind of forced aside at the expense of a safer space for some people. Like that is a bigger problem to me too about this.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think, you know, as someone that's, you know, for youth, that they should be looking out for this and should be using their power, especially their allies should be using their power to speak up for this injustice that they're seeing. You know, there's one thing for, you know, about censorship for a reason, you know, they should be censoring that kind of stuff, right? They should be censoring the neo-Nazis,
right,
and the racists and right, the sexism, like all the isms that are not good isms. That's what they should be more alarmed with, you know?
Right. Totally.
Yeah, I know this is the part of nAGLY Live where we're talking about things that are, you know, kind of heavy. But if anyone in the chat wants to, you know, chime in, we would love to hear your thoughts too. And, you know, we would love to hear if you have a different take on it. We would love to hear that too.
Yeah. We're also always open to other topics that you would like us to discuss, or any questions about things that you wouldn't feel comfortable necessarily asking in person. So feel free to use the chat however you like.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting how this does play out in the future. And I'm glad that in the article that you did send me, and I can totally post it on here too in the chat, that people are already speaking out about it. So I think if we just keep like just speaking up, then they'll fall in line and listen to us. It's just sad that we're gonna go into 2019 and we're still having the same problem, but now it's just on a different scale.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah. Okay, Catwoman said the algorithm is created by the masses of the platform, So it starts off in an insensitive way, but then they tweak it. I hope they tweak it, because I don't want to get banned for just something so silly.
Right.
And I have noticed that too, like on Facebook, I posted a like a live Facebook video, and it had we were at a party and they were playing music, and they actually, when I went to go post it, they said, "Oh, we can't post this video because there's copyright music to it." And then, but then it says, "But would you like to dispute it?" And then I just disputed it, and they were like, within 24 hours, they were like, "Oh, okay," and they just let it through. So, yeah, hope they get to tweaking, and they don't learn too hard the way how YouTube did.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I think that's probably our cue to wrap up. Unless anyone in the chat has any questions for us. And also, I'm glad that the chat is getting more and more activity, which is nice, and everyone's like talking to each other, which is pretty cool to see.
So let me do that thing. This is nAGLY.
And remember,
you are loved.